Voices against corruption. Let the people speak.
Hello and welcome to Primark's public feedback series on corruption, called Voices Against Corruption. And we ask, do you think corruption is a major factor in Nigerians' inability to access potable water across the country?
I see corruption as one of the prime reasons why we don't have access to potable water, because that's one of the duty of our government. They're supposed to have places like, in those days when we were growing up, we had something like water board that you can easily have access to, and most times those water from water board, they are really clean and we could drink them. But these days you can't even get access to them.
Corruption is part of it because it affects the citizens. Let me say, in my community, we buy water from all those Mirua, and those Mirua too, they buy from people that are using fuel to pump the water because there's no stable lights. There's no way to pump water, and you need funds to do all those things. They are the heads of the city. At least if you are having your own personal water, you know where the water is coming from. This one you are buying, so you didn't know how the water came up. You don't know how the jerry can is, whether it's clean or not. So taking a bad water, it will affect the health also.
In my own community, we don't have government provision of water except individual, maybe landlords most times. Most cases, the water is not really too good for human consumption. Sometimes we discover that the water, they are dirty or not properly treated, and of course it causes diseases.
None of us are able to get these basic amenities like water. It's either we get from the stream or we get from the borehole. It therefore means that government are not taking responsibility of any citizens, are not even ready to take responsibility. That is what it means.
Government supposed to give us water, borehole. If they know the normal water no circulates, if they dig borehole in community, there's no problem. Even that thing can cause sickness in area. You know, before you say this one gets malaria, I have malaria before he die. This one he die. You know, that kind of a thing. We are just drinking or using water that we see.
Corruption affects proper planning implementation. This is a working other country, even within African country here. So it's God that keep us. People are drinking. You are talking of potable water. People are drinking from well. If you see where people are taking water to, more especially in the northern area, they dig well. That's why we see them in the hospital here and there.
It's like where I'm living now, the company I park into, we are using well water. And when I park in there, the water is inching my body. I was having some small rash, but later on I get used to it. And I buy water every day. Every day I buy a bag of pure water. Every day. I used to buy a bag of pure water. Calculate it in a month.
We have access to potable water, like the one the government did for us, like the boreholes. Yes. But it's during when they are campaigning during elections that they do that in our areas. Anyway, we are managing it because it's not working fine the way we are expecting it to be.
It's difficult for someone to survive in Nigeria. Honestly, if you see the kind of water we drink, you pity us, because there's nothing like water board. Nobody can come and at least to assist us to make us to have water-bought water in our community.
The solution is for the federal government to allocate money into the ministries. I don't know if they've already allocated and the minister is not doing what he's supposed to do, but if they have not, it's for the federal government to allocate money into the ministries, into the federal ministry of water resources, so they can get a suitable water for every compound.
Primark's public feedback on corruption in Nigeria is produced with support from MacArthur Foundation.